What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Views from the Struggle podcast. Stopped doing a podcast a while back. I want to say like maybe 2 years ago. Various reasons. Actually, I'm tripping. For those who don't know, my name is Otis Brown Jr. and I am the host. Just goes to show how far removed I am from this whole process. But anyway, I'm back now and I'm recording from home. We used to record at New Haven Sound Lounge Studio in New Haven, but my boy's school, my brother who owned it, came across some major opportunities out on the West Coast, so now he's out there. Shout out to him. Like I said, that's my brother for real. But ever since then, I really, started investing in myself. He gave me a lot of good advice about how to do the things on my own, so now I have the equipment to record and edit and all those things by myself at the crib, so it's kind of a new era for me. So I'm looking forward to this. But here we are. Actually, let me look up the date I recorded that last episode. Wow, early 2018. Let me update y'all a little bit about what's new with me. Late 2018, I got married. Shout out to my wife, Keta. Amazing wedding, amazing honeymoon. We went out to Vegas and LA for a few days, actually. Most people know, I'm a huge Packers fan. And while we were out there, they happened to be playing the Rams. So we caught that game. And we actually, we got to meet some of the players. They were eating at Roscoe's at the same time we were. I want to say it was the Saturday we were out there. So shout out to Roscoe's. Somewhere I always stop when I'm in LA. One place among a number of places that I love to eat out there that I can actually afford because it's wild expensive out there. Actually, I was supposed to be flying out to check my guy's school this week out in LA. On vacation from work and all that, but this whole pandemic kind of ruined that. We'll get into that a little later. What else happened? 2018, we started the nonprofit, which is Views from the Struggle, Inc. With that, we're focusing on providing opportunities to inner city youth to participate in sports and summer camps and a whole bunch of other extracurriculars. The other day, we just put out our 2020 application for our annual scholarship for high school seniors. We give out money for books and all those types of things. Really proud of that and of the students that we've been able to help over this short period of time. Please feel free to donate. The information is on the site. If you go to www.viewsfromthestruggle.com and click on the nonprofit tab, you'll see the fundraisers we've been doing. You'll see how to donate and a bunch of other stuff about myself and my team. What else? Also, last year I dropped my second documentary. It's called Generation Y, which focuses on why so many millennials are leaving the church. I think it was very interesting. It came together well. And I would love for everybody listening to watch it. Please reach out to me to get that link because I will gladly give it to you. otisb@viewsfromthestruggle.com is my email. And lastly, shout out to my sister who graduated law school last year. That's major, so that's something else that has happened. Alright, so excuse my cough. I had pneumonia like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I came back negative for COVID, so I'm hoping it wasn't a false negative, but you still hear it in my voice how I sound, so bear with me. So I pretty much want to keep the same structure I had before we stopped doing this, where I talk about some of the stuff going on in the news and then eventually get to the main topic. So first, we have to talk about the coronavirus and the pandemic. As of today, which I think is the 12th, it's hard to keep up with the days when you're in the crib all the time. The pandemic has killed thousands of people across the country and lots of people around the world, not only here. We know it's everywhere. It's crazy. Most of you know the facts about it, so I won't get in too deep with those details, but I do want to respond to what we're doing here in particular and what we're not doing here in America. First of all, I live in one of the states that's been hit the hardest, which is Connecticut. Even though we're such a small state, we've had a lot of cases. Living not too far from New York, we feel that trickle effect here very strongly. So many people, even in my own city, have been affected by it. It's crazy. A lot of people my wife knows have either got it and some have passed. So definitely keeping those families in our prayers. But like I was saying, I have to talk about the response. Things really didn't have to end up the way they are now. From my research and from my understanding, we knew, meaning our government knew about the possible outbreak way before it really got legs here, and they didn't really do anything about it. Trump didn't really start making moves until it was already too late. Now we're pretty much in a complete shutdown, at least here, tri-state. I won't say New England, but tri-state here, New York, Jersey, pretty much shut down. Um, I know other places didn't get it as bad, and y'all are, trust me, y'all are blessed if y'all didn't have to be at home quarantined the way that we have to be, because this really is not it at all. Nobody wants this. But Trump has been blaming the problem on everybody but himself. Not that that's new, but it's just annoying given the magnitude of what's happening. First, it was China, which very well may be where it came from, but like, dog, and you knew, and you could have done way more than you did. Then it was Obama. He's talking about, oh, Obama didn't leave a plan in place. Oh, Obama didn't restock the PPE, so on and so forth. First off, you've been in office 3 years. You should have done what needed to be done so that we didn't get here. Second, people from the previous administration have come out and said they gave Trump an entire playbook in case something like this happened. On top of Trump dismantling the pandemic team that was in place, he didn't restock what needed to be restocked, and then, said that wasn't, I guess, his responsibility. I don't really know how that works completely, but I would assume it would be on the current administration to get those types of things done. Long story short, Trump is reckless. He's been reckless, and he plays with people's lives like they don't matter. I've never seen a politician who just plays with people's lives the way that he does. But you can't tell his followers a thing, and that's a completely different topic for another day. Maybe one day I'll try to get some Trump supporters on and just hear why, like what it is that creates a situation where he could do no wrong no matter what, and you still support him, you still vote for him. Like, what is it? The last piece on that topic is that it's really disheartening to see the statistics that show minorities are contracting and dying from the virus much more than I can't really say others because it's not minority, it's white people, so we're just dying more. The way we are packed tight into these like major cities, and the fact that so many of us still have to go to work and expose ourselves to people who possibly have the virus every day is crazy, and just kind of the way things are set up. One way or another, we're always more at risk. So I'm praying for everybody listening and everybody out there, because this virus is snatching a lot of lives. People, please stay safe. Wear your mask, wear your gloves, take your clothes off when you come in the house, and don't spread it to people. Check on your elderly family members. Not only are they more susceptible, as far as I know, to catching it, but those are the type of people that usually count on hearing from you anyway. So now that they're secluded and really can't go out and do things, I'm sure they would love to hear from you. So check on those people as well as all your family, all your friends. And I'll leave that at that. Moving on. So if the pandemic has done anything that might be considered positive, in my eyes, it's created like new lanes for creativity and to move forward the culture, and in any form or fashion, I'm all for that. I've been watching a lot of those Verzuz battles set up by Timbaland and Swiss Beats, and they've been an experience. It's been dope. Actually, before that, shout out to DJ D Nice, who really lifted everybody's spirits with his DJing when he was on IG Live. That kind of, for me, started this whole thing of finding ways to entertain over IG and really get people, kind of happy about, I don't know, just happier than they were being stuck in the crib. But back to the verses, I'll admit, I wasn't able to catch them all, but the ones I caught were classic to say the least. I think the first one I saw was Neo versus Jonte Austin. Hoping I'm pronouncing it right. I think that is though. Now to keep it real, I don't know a lot of the stuff. I didn't know, I should say, a lot of the songs that Jonte did. I know most of Neo stuff. But once he got his bag, boy oh boy, did he come with some bangers. And I'm like, wow, he did that. In all honesty, if I had to pick a winner in that one, I would take him. That's a conversation we probably can get into another day too. Just go through all the verses and see who people thought won. After that one, I watched T-Pain versus Lil Jon. Lil Jon is such a character, but anyway, this was a battle that it took me back to like a very different era. No, maybe not very different, but definitely different. T-Pain and that auto tune was really a game changer. And we all know he had joints like he definitely changed the game. Paved the way for a lot of what people are doing now, singing with the auto tune, and anybody can pretty much sing now. A lot of rappers sing in that way. But I didn't realize that almost every like hot song coming out of the South from certain artists during that period where Lil Jon was hot, like they came from him. Like he got into that bag, and then he got into his joints from the Bay Area bag, and that's when it got crazy. Like I don't know, I love that Bay Area music, so Lil Jon really killed it. It was a good matchup though. I enjoyed it. I definitely have a newfound respect for him after that. What was after that? I watched Babyface and Teddy Riley after that, or should I say, I attempted to watch that the first part at least, like everybody else did, but that failed like pretty miserably. It was funny to watch, them as like old heads now trying to maneuver through social media. And the one thing I love about black people is they will make a meme out of anyone in any situation. Boy, oh boy, did Teddy Riley get a buck. He took it like a champ though. He laughed it off. He participated. So kudos to him for that. Part 2 though was epic. Even though it didn't end how we wanted it to end, because they still ended up with problems. But during that session, so many classics played back to back to back, and I love Teddy, man. But Babyface got that music that just make you wanna, just treat your girl better, or at least like cook her dinner or something. Like he's that guy. The most recent one I missed because I had to work, but I heard Erykah Badu and Jill Scott was a vibe for sure. That's the best way to put it. They said it didn't feel like a versus. It wasn't competition. It was just a vibe, and I'm happy to hear that they put on in that particular way, because they're both queens and both so very important to the culture. The next one I've been hearing rumors about is Nelly and Ludacris. We had a little debate in the group chat. I think Luda will smoke Nelly, but maybe I need to look at their discographies, their songs a little closer. But Nelly got probably the biggest single hit out of both of them with Hot in Here, but Luda has like joints, a whole lot of them. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm interested to see it. But I already went on way too long about the verses. That wasn't even supposed to go that long. I also wanted to mention, in terms of culture, like the Jordan documentary came out. Maybe I'll hold off on that since it's still going on. Anyway, got I think 2 more episodes till it's done. Looking forward to those. But I will say Jordan was a different breed, and he dominated in an era where you really had to be a dog to shine. Like nowadays, if you could shoot, you could make it to the league. If you could dribble, you could make it to the league. You don't got to play no defense. You don't have to go to the lane. You don't got to endure no fouls. You don't got to do none of that stuff, really. But Jordan was a dog. I think ESPN moved the release up of the docuseries due to the pandemic. And honestly, I thank them, because that was just what we needed to take some of the conversation away from the incompetence of Trump throughout this whole situation. But we'll talk more about the documentary on another episode. So let's get to what I really wanted to talk about today. I really wanted to talk about the big story in the news right now, which is the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. I apologize if I didn't pronounce that right. It's a story that's similar to a lot of stories that we've seen over the last few years, and dealing with it never seems to get any easier. I'll acknowledge now that I'm still getting updates on it in real time, just like everybody else. So if I say anything now that later turns out to be incorrect in any way, I will go back and correct it. I'm sorry, at a later time. I'm sure most of you, if you have not watched the video, have read the articles detailing the murder. The video is a good place to start for two different reasons. One, I watched an interview with the lawyer of the guy who filmed it, the murder, and he made it seem like his client, not the guy who shot it, the guy who recorded, not one of the guys, I should say, the father and son. The guy who recorded it, he made it seem like he wasn't connected to the McMichaels, who were the father and son that murdered Ahmaud, that he wasn't connected to them in any way. So I found that hard to believe, just because that would mean that he like randomly decided to become a part of this whole ordeal, and on top of that to record it. But he said he had no connection and no idea what was really going on. Two, like in so many other cases, this murder would have been known to the public, wouldn't have been known, had it not been for a video recording, and a video recording at that, which had to be leaked by someone who was close to those who should have been responsible for prosecuting the McMichaels. So video is such a strange things in this time. Speaking of the prosecutors, a number had to recuse themselves, as I've read, due to their connection to the murderers. And I want to say, you could correct me if I'm wrong, one of the DAs tried to blatantly like sweep the whole case against them under the rug and not move forward with the charges because they too had connections. Here it goes. He did not see grounds for the arrest of any of the individuals involved, end quote, is what I read. So from the very beginning, this case was in bad hands, and had it not been for the video, the McMichaels would likely never have been charged. Another thing about the video, and I've made this point many times, technology is such a gift and a curse. It's a gift because now we almost always have visual proof of what happened, making it harder for cops and whoever else to kill us and get away scot-free. But on the other hand, like, how many more videos like this with black men and women sometimes being murdered right before our eyes can we take? It takes an emotional toll on me, so I'm sure it takes a toll on so many others. Like, I'm tired of watching black people murdered, plain and simple. My bad, I forgot to mention that they're usually unarmed. That's a point that I gotta throw in there. Unarmed black people that are still being murdered. So why was he murdered? Excuse me. The McMichaels, they claim there had been a string of burglaries in the neighborhood, from what I read, and he looked suspicious while he was jogging. Why is black always synonymous with suspicious? Ahmaud had on typical running attire, from what I saw. Nothing in his hands that could have been stolen. No baggy clothes or bag where he could have been hiding something that he had stolen. What made him suspicious other than being black? And then, and I'm not sure if this is something that McMichael said directly or if it's just a defense people have been trying to use, but it was stated that they were attempting to make a citizen's arrest. First off, who does that? Second, many of us don't know the specifics about how that works, so I'm glad it was made clear that you can't make a citizen's arrest unless you have seen a crime happening, and they did not see one. But they did see an opportunity to load up their guns, hop in their truck, and try to take things into their own hands. But back to the story. So they track Ahmaud down, basically box him in, with nowhere to go, and an altercation ensues. From there, Ahmaud is murdered. I'll leave it at that because it's really difficult to think about the recklessness of their actions against him without getting overwhelmed. So I'm on Twitter a few nights ago and I see the comment LeBron made about the situation, and for some reason I'm the type of guy, that just has to go look at a few comments, and a few comments turns into 20 comments, and then 50, then to 100, and by the end I'm like, furious at how people, mainly white people, try to flip and justify the story. Stupid questions they're asking, like, why did he approach the truck if he was innocent? Either you're not familiar with the concept of fight or flight, or you're, I don't know, ignorant and trying just to stir the pot. At that point, his chances of flight were gone. Like, he tried to swerve, try to get out of the way, try to keep moving, but they really didn't give him that option. And don't tell me he could have, like I said, continued to run. He couldn't. Where was he going to run? Even if he got away at that moment, where was he going without continuing to be tracked down by them? I also saw, why would he try to grab the gun? Well, would you not try to save your life in that situation? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm different, but I can see clearly, like, what other option do you have but to try to save your life in that moment? Another infuriating question was, why was Ahmaud carrying a loaded gun at a high school basketball game? Like, first, I don't know if that information was even true. Second, I'm not even going to say if it was true because that's neither here nor there. What does that have to do with something that happened way back in high school and he's in his mid-20s now? What does that have to do with this situation? People do their best to, like, literally assassinate you and then assassinate your character once you're gone to justify what was done to you. The whole situation, it really reminds me of the Trayvon Martin situation in a lot of ways. Killed for being in a neighborhood where someone didn't want them. The perpetrators calling the police and being told to allow the police to handle it, but instead deciding to be, tough guys and approach the person themselves. Then an altercation ensues, and approaching these people while having guns, so they know that they have that option if it altercation ensues and they need to take action or want to take action. Then the altercation ensues and they try to justify killing the black man as self-defense. So we see it time and time again. Both situations, this one and Trayvon Martin, they absolutely could have been avoided, but here we are. Oh, and to what I was saying before, they did the same thing with Trayvon, or almost everyone else for that matter, trying to portray him as some type of thug and a party to his own death after the fact by posting the pictures that they're posting of him when he was younger doing whatever they were doing. Like, completely irrelevant to this particular case. Another similarity, it took public pressure in order for charges to even be brought against either of the parties in either of these situations. I'm not sure if Georgia has any law similar to the stand your ground law that Zimmerman used to get off, but I'm praying this case has a different outcome. The arrest is just like the first piece of the puzzle. So I say all that really to say, I guess, well, to pose some questions. When will America change? When will being black not automatically make you a threat? When will people stop automatically assuming these young men had to have done something wrong to be killed in these horrible situations? When will we get to a place where we expect justice to be served when things like this happen? Because unfortunately, we've seen enough times where justice didn't happen to expect it not to happen without something drastic having to happen in order for it justice to come. When will black mothers not have to be fearful when their children leave the house that they won't return because they're shot for being black? Literally anywhere in the country. It's not even in these just major cities. It's in the backwoods, the backcountry. It's everywhere. And I don't know any black, let me not say mothers, black parents that don't worry when their kids go out that they might not return. It's a crazy world we live in. When will it end? I'm praying that it is sooner rather than later. So a short episode to start. Really just getting back into the swing of things. Thank you all for listening. Let's call it the first episode of season 2. How about we look at it like that? Comments, questions, hit me up at otisb@viewsfromthestruggle.com. Tune in next week. We'll have another great episode for you. I don't know about what. I'm really just getting back in, like I said, to the swing of things. Also, go ahead and follow us at Views from the Struggle on Instagram, Facebook. Like and pass the page on to somebody at minor_majority on Twitter. www.viewsfromthestruggle.com. Also, go check out my books. They're available at lulu.com, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. How Did We Get Here and Things We Don't Talk About. You can find the podcast iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, anywhere you listen to your podcast at. And I will talk to you next week before the dog starts wilding. Peace.